No, this is, it's a corner lot.
It's on Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn.
Pardon? Unless you catch up with the minutes
Yeah,
or
but
catch
for
up
the
and watch
night-
the video. Right.
Tonight,
But I haven't drafted a decision,
Yeah.
so what I would suggest is, he's gonna talk a little bit more about it and some slight changes that he's
But I
made.
can't comment because I
So
haven't.
if they want us to see
Video
it.
or anything.
Right.
I'm just.
I call it.
Is it possible for me to sit here and listen?
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think we're ready to start the public hearing in our RGFA for 86 Loring Road. We've given this a half an hour for review. And if we could keep the presentation, try to keep it to 15 minutes. I know that's tight. We'll talk really fast, Rob. We'll follow up with questions from the planning board and any questions that might arise from the audience. So before we start, just to introduce ourselves, I'm Al Agelot. I'm the chairman of the planning board, and the other members are
David Mendelson.
Steve Oppenheimer. Roy Chaplin.
go.
Okay. I'm Rob Gemma from Metro West Engineering. With me is Al Mendelson, is the owner developer of the project. Eric Joseph from Paul Finger Associates is our landscape architect. And somewhere in here is Michael McKay, is our house architect. I'll start out going through the neighborhood, if that's your pleasure.
Okay.
So if we start at, let's see, 97 Warren Road here. That's all I'll do. 97 Loring is here. We've got a Cape style home with an RGFA of just under 3,300 square feet. 91 Loring is also a Cape style home, has an RGFA of about 3,900 square feet. 83 Loring is it's a colonial style home with an RGFA of 9,400 square feet. 86 Loring is actually the locus, so I'll go through that in detail when I get to the existing conditions plan. 80 Loring Road is another extended style Cape, has an RGFA of 11,300, actually of 6,700 square feet. 19 Meadowbrook Road is a Cape style home with a RGFA of 9,900 square feet. 25 Meadowbrook Road, which is also abuts us, is a shingle style home with an RGFA of 9,600 square feet. 65 Autumn Road is a contemporary home with an RGFA of 5,200 square feet. Across the street, we are on the corner of Loring and Autumn, so across the street at 50 Autumn Road, there's a colonial style home with an RGFA of 6,300 square feet. And then directly adjacent to us, I think that's the contemporary with a 6,500 square foot RGFA. So our site is again on the corner, the northwest corner of Autumn and Warren Road. The lot size is just under 54,000 square feet, 1.23 acres. It's in a residence B zoning district, which requires 40,000 square feet, 200 feet of frontage. It's a fully conforming lot. There's no dimensional issues. The existing house on it has an RGFA of about 3,600 square feet. The peak elevation of the roof is at elevation 146.3 feet. The average existing grade plane around that house is 128.6 feet. So the height of the existing house is about 15 feet. It's a contemporary style ranch style house. One of the things that you get out to the site, you'll notice is that the house sits in a hole. So water kind of drains around it from all directions, particularly we pick up water down Loring Road, down the driveway, and the garage. The driveway actually slopes into the garage. So we pick up all sorts of stormwater into the basement of that house and the garage of the house. And traditionally, they've had a water problem in the basement. They've solved it with some pumps that have pumped the water back into Loring Road and Autumn Road and have created icing and drainage problems in the neighborhood. We expect to address that here. The soils on this site are actually pretty good. They're all sandy. The water table's down at 8 or 9 feet, so we've got good soils to work with. The site's presently accessed off Loring Drive with a circular driveway and then the end-in garage. So there's quite a bit amount of pavement and a big massive driveway there. The existing impervious area on that site's about 8,100 square feet. I want to take you through a little bit of the evolution of the design of this. We actually met a couple of times with Kim, Dave, and Betsy, and went through a couple of revisions. And this is the plan that I presented on the sidewalk last week. And a few of the planning board members were here, and some of the neighbors were here. And the idea was to bring the new driveway in off Autumn Road for a couple of reasons. Autumn Road has a sidewalk. We anticipate this house will have children that go up to the school bus. Getting the driveway off Loring Road is it's much safer because of the speed of vehicles on Loring Road. There's actually good sight distance at both driveway locations. And also because Loring Road's a scenic way, this will allow us the ability to plug in that gap with the existing driveway is with trees and landscaping. So we think that's a positive for the site to do that. We've elevated the house so that we get it out of the hole. The soils on site are good, so we're able to deal with all the drainage issues with all the impervious areas on site and eliminate the pumping issues that were going on. The site was being picked up a bit in the front and cut a bit in the back where there's a knoll. So the comments, being quicker than I'd probably like to be, but the comments we get on the site visit were basically, could we look at this side load garage? Was that necessary to bring the driveway all across the house, load the garage on this side where you'd see the driveway from Warren Road? There was also a comment about the roof line on there, that it was basically all shingles exposed to Warren Road without any dormers. And then we had a question about the grading in the back and the height of that retaining wall, which on this plan is about 5 feet high. And there were also comments that because the driveway was side loaded, because of setback requirements for the drainage and the septic system, it really narrowed down the allowable buffer on Warren Road. So I actually have a very receptive client, an architect who went home and worked on that problem. So we've come back with a revised plan that actually does eliminate the side loaded garage facing Loring. We're going to bring the driveway in with a front load, still able to accomplish the three-car garage that's important to the project. And Michael will go through, but this roof line ends up being much more attractive from Warren Road as well. This allowed me to bring the septic system in quite a bit closer to the house and increase this buffer. And we also took a look at the grading in the backyard. We've massaged the grading to shorten this wall and also knock the height down from 5 feet to 2.5 feet. So, and this wall, it's a cut wall, so from the abutting property, you look over it. So the only one who'll see the face of that wall are the residents who live in the home. So I think the site walk was very useful in this case, and I think we got some constructive criticism that we tried to take to heart. So I'll run you through some of the new numbers. The RGFA of this house is 6282, so it's really consistent with what's in the neighborhood. It's not a huge home. Average existing grade plane around the house is 128.9, which is basically 0.3 different from the existing house that's there, because we're putting the house in the same footprint. That's the existing house location there. We talked about the reasoning for bringing the driveway in off of Autumn. One of the results of bringing the driveway in this way is we really did also knock down a lot of impervious areas. So after development, the site will actually have 148 square feet less impervious area than before development. So in terms of that, again, I think we're in keeping with the goals of the bylaw for site plan review. All of the drainage is collected and stored on site from the hardscapes up to the 100-year event. There'll be no flow discharged off site. So we've eliminated the drainage problem of pumping out the basement. And I think that's my abbreviated Cliff Notes version of this. So I'll let,
Thanks, Rob.
I'll let Eric go on to landscaping.
Be brief as well. Eric Joseph, Patrick Associates. So what we're looking at doing is plugging in the holes here as well as providing screening for the neighbors here. Neighbors here, we're using a combination white fir, white spruces, all 12, 14 feet tall. So we're not looking at small trees, we're bringing some moderate sized trees. And one of the thoughts also during the sidewalk that we heard was that there was a lot of rhododendrons, there was some Japanese maple, dogwood, that looked like, you know, if we could save it, we would. So we actually put on the plan locations where we can transplant them. Perhaps a better way to look at this is actually using this plan here. And what you'll see is that all the colored circles are all the proposed trees that we're looking at, putting in approximately about 32, 33 evergreen trees. So we have screening along here. Using the grades along here, we're also planting in some understory to help fill this in. One of the comments that we got from Kim early on was that is there any way we can actually enhance some of the understory in this area here? So the thought was the rhododendrons that you saw in the back that were nice and full, we're actually going to take those and put them up front and transplant them up front. And the difference in the colors of circles is that what you're noticing is that by rotating the garage this way here, bringing the septic system in here, we're saving about a half a dozen trees and actually putting in a couple additional trees. So you can see how much between the trees here, the added buffer here, and this in here, how we're enhancing the screening along Warren Road. And then we have again the white firs along the back here. In terms of lighting, we're looking at keeping it under 16,000 lumens. Many of these around the back here, the front here are actually recessed cans. All right, and we do have two post lights, one located here, one located in this area here. So with that, actually, I'll turn this over to.
Before you do that, can you just
Certainly.
show us which trees you're saving that weren't going to be saved before?
Sure. You see, these two light ones are the ones we're actually proposing in addition, and these green ones right here. These here are the ones that we're looking at saving.
So those are all staying?
That's correct. All the other trees that you see right here, you can see that we're just keeping. A lot of them are deciduous. Those are all staying.
And
One of
you
the
were-
other things too, Steve, it just struck me too, that when I was on the site and we walked in, we were talking with Betsy, there were a couple of large oaks here and here that were kind of marginally on the edge of the drainage system. So I slid that drainage system under the driveway so that those things won't be endangered. So we saved those big oaks
They're
that
like
were standing there.
70-foot, 80-foot
Yeah.
trees,
Yeah.
they're big trees.
Yeah, so we did save, the intention was to save them anyway, but I think we've kind of taken a lot of harm's way now.
Right.
But those two that you were going to be removing?
The one that's cable tied, I think, to the utility pole.
Those are still being removed?
That's correct.
Are the post lights dark sky?
Yes, they are. All the fixtures are dark sky, and we do have cut fixtures on those.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Michael McKay, project architect. I'm actually going to show the elevation that we proposed. This is the front elevation with the garage doors on the left side. It's a gambrel style house, shingle style, stone accents. This is again what we proposed. We've changed. I just want to quickly show the front and the left side. And this was the side elevation that I think started the discussion of why are the garage doors on Warren Road, and this, all of this roof area was gambrel roof area, and that, I think that started the discussion, and we've since revised the house to have the garage doors at the front. So the 3 garage doors will, it's the same basic shape, gambrel roof line, secondary roof line for the garage. This is the main gambrel. This piece sets back approximately 18 inches from the face, so it's not just one flat face of garage. And what we were able to do with that was introduce a dormer on the Warren side. So this is not set up so well for my. I'm trying to be fast, I'm being slow. All right, I'm gonna put this down. Come on. So this would be the Warren elevation. We brought that same stone pillar with stone base, with a gable that's, now that's the gable that we're able to introduce, that breaks up the roofing area. This will be a decorative window, but the face on Warren is now more articulated. It's instead of just gambrel roof line. If you'd like, I can go through all 4 elevations, but I'm trying to respect time.
Anyone want to see the other elevations?
Oh, you may want to.
Didn't see the sidewalk, but it seems like I'm okay with it.
I can send everybody, I just got the electronic versions, so I'll send everybody the electronic versions.
Okay. Good. Is that your presentation?
We haven't shown you site sections. We do have them if you want them.
Might as well
Yeah,
point through them.
that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
This is the site section going from Autumn Road back, and this is the roof line here, that's across the street. You can see we're maintaining pretty close to grade. This is here where we pick it up a little bit. Here's the roof line here. It's actually lower in elevation than the one across the street, as well as lower than the one behind it. And this is the elevation going across the property. And peak elevation here is 162.3. Pretty. We have the actual peak elevation on the.
Yeah.
You can see it's moderately close to the one that's across Warren Road. It's a little bit taller than the one on this side over here. The thought again was to put some screening down here as well as up on the top of the.
Yeah, our ridge is 162.2.
Okay.
And I didn't mention the height of the house. The height of the house is 33.3 feet, so we're about 4 feet below the 37.5 foot allowable height.
Okay. Dave, have you had a chance to take a look at the revised site plans, and what do you think?
Yeah, so I haven't looked at the revised drainage report, because I don't think they've gotten that far yet, and I don't think even know if you're gonna bother
I
revising.
wasn't gonna bother because we actually, the report we gave you had like 800 square feet more
Yeah.
impervious area than we have now, so.
So I looked at them this afternoon, the plans this afternoon, they're fine, I want to digest them a little bit more, but they're, you know, from my perspective, the stormwater was fine before, this is better, I mean, because it's a lot less impervious.
Right. Okay. Kim, what are your thoughts?
The landscape plan is nice. It's a robust buffer, and it's much better than what we've seen previously, so I'm good with it.
It's an improvement.
It's an improvement.
I do have one question about the landscape plan. if you could put it up, looks like there's a gap, and it's probably just because you don't need some new trees in a certain area that makes it look like a gap. They're all existing trees. But on the right, right above where the colored trees are, on Loring Road,
Right in this area here.
higher, right there, right there.
Yeah, and then you've got about easy 8 or 10 deciduous trees there now, and we also have the septic system coming right up to the corner there. So, I mean, thought was, is that we're enhancing this gap over here where the driveway used to come in with 4 or 5 trees. Okay, in this area here.
But there are some pretty dense trees in that area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions or comments from the board?
Part of this was dealing with a pretty big drainage problem, and that you were talking about raising the house. How much are we talking about?
The house comes up about 3 feet from the existing, but a lot of the drainage problem with the existing house that was there was really self-inflicted because of the way they graded it. They graded it so everything pitched into the garage in the basement. And Loring's Road is actually pitched so that it flows down towards his property, and there was no berm on the driveway or anything, so water would come down the gutter line, right down the driveway, right down into the garage, until it hit the pumps and the fire hose, and then they pumped it back into the street. So, you know, it was as far as drainage issues go, this one was pretty easy to fix. You probably didn't need to be an engineer to figure out what was going on there.
Any other comments, questions?
Well, my only comment is I wanted to commend you on really improving the plan in our opinion and design and listening to us. Appreciate it.
Okay, comments from neighbors? Any questions? No?
We're the only neighbors here. We're the Goldmans, who are 65 Autumn.
Yeah.
And we live next to the Charons, who own a house that was there before for many years. And they suffered terribly. We suffered with them with water problems for decades that just defied solution because of the way that the house was sort of dug into the property. And we're hopeful that this will be a solution, a durable solution.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be. Good. If there are no other comments, questions, then I think, yes.
The question I had was, I didn't hear lumens of lighting.
16,000.
Yeah, actually, I was saying,
Sorry, I missed it.
that's okay, so we're under 16,000 lumens.
I heard a couple of dark sky posts,
Yep.
but I didn't hear the.
A couple dark sky pictures here, and the rest really are predominantly recessed cans and soffits.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Well, I'd just like to repeat Steve's comment. I think you guys did a good job of listening to us, and I appreciate your saying that it actually made the plan better.
Yeah, we think it did.
That's good. Having said that, I think we can actually continue to the decision. So we'll continue the hearing to look at the draft decision.
9:45 on the 29th.
The 29th
2
of
weeks.
October,
2 weeks.
9:45. Just, you haven't been through the process yet, so we will be looking at the draft decision. You can come, or you don't, if you choose to. We're not taking testimony, we're just gonna be looking at what we've basically discussed this evening, memorializing that in the decision, taking a vote, and then that's the end of the process as far as we're concerned. So that's gonna happen on the 29th at, what time did you say?
9:45.
9:45.
Thank you.
Great, thanks very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
It's quite a change.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Well, I don't think so, that's why.
It must be like a positive
Thanks.
Sorry. No, I'm not. True. Alice.
No, but that's the standard. That's what I'm waiting for you. Can you tell the two apart and
Baby.
because we can't start this until somebody shows up.
Does he have somebody at?
I'm just gonna give it a try.
I'll talk to him.
He sent me to a guy, that's his dad, trained. Very good. I go to Lexington, I Thank you. Jeremy.
Standards you have on the side.
Right,
That's
right.
what we were talking with you.
Because you don't know my
I know. I know.
I'm just saying.
They absolutely insist on putting.
Sounds like
Cousin is on TV. Well, my cousin-in-law
Okay, let me.
is doing a TV show on PBS.
This one. I can't participate. I can sit and listen, but can you take over the, or who was the chair when I wasn't here? David, can you take over?
We're not voting on it.
No, I can listen, but
Okay, who's, okay, that's, remember.
I'm doing this one.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's doing the 441.
Okay.
Oh, we're waiting for Joel Barr.
What?
Joel,
Joel's supposed to be here.
he is, but he's not. So we can't start without him.
Well,
We can take care of some of the other stuff first.
yeah.
I think the people sitting in the room are not interested in parking for schools, recommending for 40B projects or scenic roads by line and the rights of way. I've been here for a while, so it's like.
They did it again on Highland, on two major scenic roads. They did it again. Why can't we just, if we're
I
gonna
guess so.
change it?
We can't because it's mandated by state statute, what you can and can't include in a bylaw. It's not like a zoning bylaw, it's an enabling bylaw. So we're only able to review stone walls and trees. That's what's in the state statute.
And we're revising this like
We're adding these roads. We're just adding roads. That's all
we
we're
can
doing.
do that.
But we
Right.
can't change what we can review in our review.
I was surprised I heard.
Well,
Because there's
state highways, there's some kind of some sort of a loophole that allows us to do it if the town maintains the roads.
So up until now, it seems like the understanding is that was what we were doing.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So, should we talk so much about it?
Yeah.
Just think of what.
For everybody that's in the room, I assume that we're all here for the zoning bylaw changes. And we're waiting for town council to come, so we can't start the public hearing until town council arrives. I don't know what's holding him up, he's supposed to be here. So just be patient and bear with us, please. Betsy, those are the handout. Have you heard from Joel at all?
I talked with him at like
He
6
said,
o'clock.
his email said he was coming.
Yeah. We did on the 29th, which is unfortunately the day after the one.
Here he is. Joel. Speak of the devil.
Wow, you guys are
Hello.
really,
We're doing much more efficient.